The owner of a zoo in Quebec has been arrested on animal neglect and cruelty charges. The Montreal SPCA and the Humane Society in the process of seizing animals at the Saint-Edouard Zoo. It's about 120 kilometers east of Montreal. An SPCA spokesperson saying they visited the zoo in August and found 4 dead animals, including 2 tigers, noting several violations and now removing about 100 other animals. Let's go to Camille Labchuk, animal rights lawyer and executive director of Animal Justice. She joins us now from Ottawa. Thanks for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Is it unusual for zoo owners to face these kinds of charges?
Yes, quite frankly, it is. This is the first case, to my knowledge, where a zoo has been charged with criminal animal cruelty, a zoo containing exotic animals. And it's not just criminal animal cruelty charges, they've laid indictable charges, which for listeners out there means it's the most serious possible way that you can proceed under the criminal code with animal cruelty charges. So that's incredibly significant to see this action.
Do we know what kind of action was taken at the zoo? And by that, I mean, do we know what this man who ran the zoo and owned the zoo was really being accused of?
It seems like details are still emerging, but from what I can piece together, there has been a pattern for quite some time of cruelty and neglect. We know that the Montreal SPCA first went in there last August. They determined that a couple of animals needed to be seized immediately. I believe that they took 2 llamas out of that situation, and that they also found at least 4 carcasses of dead animals, including 2 tigers. Today, when Montreal SPCA and Humane Society International Canada attended and started rescuing and removing animals, they found many animals in dire conditions, including animals who needed food, who needed water, and who were enduring serious psychological distress. And you can tell because there was pacing. When animals are experiencing serious psychological distress, one of the symptoms is that they often pace back and forth, and that was on display today.
All right. So, Camille, when you have an animal who has passed away, what are you supposed to do? Because obviously it's unusual to have dead carcasses on the property.
Well, I think the first thing that needs to happen, and I'm sure that they are working on this, is that the Montreal SPCA needs to determine the cause of death of those animals. Was it something that did occur because of natural causes, or was it something that occurred because of neglect?
So what kind of precedent could we be seeing in this case?
It's a very significant case, and one of the reasons for that is that we almost never see criminal animal cruelty charges against industries that use animals. We're very good at prosecuting people who kick a cat or choke a dog, but almost never do we see industries like zoos or farms face criminal charges. So this is pretty significant because we are seeing that in this case, a commercial use of animals ending up in a criminal prosecution. So it's very encouraging that this action has been taken.
Typically, when the SPCA gets involved, is that because somebody has called to complain, or do they do sort of routine checks at these kinds of facilities, these zoos?
Well, most animal use industries, including zoos, are often not regulated very well, under-regulated, or not regulated at all. So in this case, from what I understand, the Montreal SPCA received a complaint from a member of the public who had gone to the zoo and was disturbed by things that they'd seen. The Montreal SPCA then was able to go to that zoo and do their own investigation, which uncovered further evidence. But this is one of the problems with trying to police zoos, is that usually there aren't proactive inspections. It really depends on members of the public reporting cruelty that they see. And of course, members of the public don't have the opportunity to see most of what goes on at zoos. Anything that's not in a publicly visible area, it simply is invisible to us. So it's good when this action is taken.
Got it. Camille Labchuk, I've got to leave it there. Thanks for joining us today. Appreciate that.
Good to be here.